Okay, just started.
It started now. It's finally real now. Okay. Yes. So maybe if
Yeah.
you can just start by saying your name and who you are slash how you define yourself, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So here I will use my name like Andrei Barrington. Um, it's not my birth name, but it's more of an alter ego that allows me to explore um to try to think about my identity outside of the one I was born with, especially within like decolonial perspectives. I'm an artist. And yeah, I just graduated from art schools in 2025, June 2025. And yeah, now I'm just really starting my career. I have a group show in Paris this April. Um, and I mean it's mostly because I'm in this kind of transitional phase. And I'm also trying to take things slow to not get into some sort of weird overproduction vibe. Um, but yeah, it's mostly I mean, of course, one of the most important things I come from the Caribbeans. I come from French West Indies. My parents are from Martinique, and I grew up in French Guyana. So I have like this culture which is both like in the West Indies, but also in the Amazonian area.
Nice, nice. Okay.
I don't know if it's enough or if you need anything else.
No, no, no. I'm just like, first of all, I'm not a professional, so I don't know how to do this properly. So I just ask what I think I care about, and then after the
Yeah,
end,
sure.
finally I will try it. But I'm also not, I like
Yeah.
what you said about the over polished thing. I don't know if I want to over polish these talks as well, because one, I don't want to imitate
Yeah,
um
sure.
podcasters. In general. Not that I'm against imitation, but the whatever podcasters exist are usually on the side of people that I'm not cool with. So why would I imitate them anyway? Um, but just the technical
Yeah.
knowledge of like, because before when I was starting, I wasn't even asking the introduction, and I was realizing when I was editing, wait, these people don't know who this person is. So I learn as I get along. So that's the problem. That's the
Mm, yeah.
yeah. Who would you
Yeah,
be?
makes sense.
Yeah. Who would you be if you lost your artistic practice?
Yeah. I think this one was the toughest one. Um, because I was thinking about many things when you asked this. Um, One of them is more like was very personal, just like about myself, like what the kind of other things I appreciate and the other one was a bit like more like political, collective kind of thing vision. And so to start with the personal one, I would say, yeah, my artistic practice is really influenced by practices such as anthropology and philosophy. And it's been really interesting to me to like, I mean, to know about the history of this, especially of anthropology, its history into colonialism, white supremacism, imperialism, like how it was mainly used to document other people, to show their differences, and then to be a tool to justify colonization. But it's interesting because like we have more and more BIPOC anthropologists, people who instead of coming from the white stare, white glaze are coming with really from black indigenous visions. And even back then there were some anthropologists. I I should have written down their names, but I know there is these two African American anthropologists, for example, in the I think 50s, so very early, at least in the history of modern anthropology. And for example, they really focused on Caribbean people and trying to study them, but instead of doing it from this kind of outsider's perspective of a white person coming into a community, documenting everything, basically stealing information, and then this information is then used against these people. We were just trying to understand like the other Afro descendants people. Again, it was coming from African American women. So how do other Afro descendant people in the same continent but in different countries also go on with their lives? And I realized, yeah, but anthropology has also been a good like political awakening for me because um, it's been a way to reconnect with some knowledge that can be lost. It's a good way to also again understand how the academia, the institutions from the West see you, and how you can flip that gaze by using these tools, but sometimes knowing how to change these tools. And that's also why philosophy is interesting because I feel like philosophy is a good way to mine these institutions from the inside by being like, oh, I'm thinking not the way you want me to think because you can control how I think exactly. So I'm just thinking, and now I'm like, oh, I see this discipline, and I want to think about the discipline differently than you. So trying to bring these things. So probably, yeah, if I wasn't doing arts, I would maybe be writing like you essays, but really focusing on these things. And to me, your work is also has an anthropological side to it, like talking about the Maroons, um, and talking about like how this figure is incorporated in our society. There is, to me, an anthropological level because in the end, we're really talking about humans. And I feel like this is where anthropology decolonial anthropology is important because instead of showing others, just shows humans like you and I. So that you have a more personal thing, and the more collective one is just was a bit more. Um, it was just thinking about where you come from and how most people where you come from, what they end up doing, and this one is a tough one because you're like there is, of course, there's class and gender that can also allow you to end up differently. But yeah, I just think about some of my friends. A lot of them also like are good now, but also have some friends who did not really end up in the best situations. And so you're like, in what team would have ended up based on of my background. Where I come from as a Caribbean person, where I come from with a certain like again a certain gaze, what is like looking at me when I'm in the streets, when I'm everywhere. So that was the other thing I was thinking about. Like, yeah, if it wasn't for art or anthropology, these kinds of things, philosophy, where would I ended up? What kind of life would I have had right now? Maybe I could have been very well, but maybe like other people could have been like very bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially for people who have like this one like talent slash one like passion or drive, if they can concentrate it enough and be lucky enough to be in a situation where you can use it, you can escape some of those conditions that people that are like no less valuable to you in terms of like just a raw value of human being,
Yeah,
but weren't able to kind of concentrate on that thing, and so they get caught up, or they're more vulnerable to the state, and to the prison society, than
yeah.
been otherwise. So that's the scary thing. But yeah, I mean, if you were able to escape it just like that, I
Mm.
mean, I like that political side as well. But yeah, it's not just about like the individual, but who would you be just by the nature of where you're forced to be by colonial power. Um, but yeah. How does your work move against the world or set you against it?
Yeah, this one was really interesting because as you know, I'm an artist and I'm more into like creating than like destroying. And so in that sense, I'm more interested not into like, I mean, of course, yeah, there's the question of like revolution and how to how to build on top of the ruins of like the current systems. But yeah, the things that as an artist, I'm trying to really focus on creating these worlds that we want for ourselves. And so my like I have, yeah, my own political, like maybe like actions. But when it comes to art, I'm really thinking about like how can I bring worlds that will be different, that will tell different narratives, that will present us with other possibilities than the ones we are given right now. So I would say, yeah, in some sense, it's setting me against the current world, but I'm also trying to see how I can like bring new things to the table instead of just working on like suppression, working on just like because the main problem is that it's always like when you destroy something, like the moment there is this kind of void for this thing is one of the most dangerous moments because you have to very quickly put something in its place. And I want to be able, yeah, to be among the people to bring this new thing as quick as possible. Even already having it growing, right now, my artistic practice, I've been mostly going back to painting, but I'm painting masks, really inspired by Carnival, really inspired by the masquerades that we inherited from our ancestors. And masks are interesting because they exist in an ambiguous, constantly ambiguous state. They are faces, but at the same time, they hide faces. They give identity, but at the same time they take off another identity. They also destroy our understanding of time because traditionally for masks you can communicate with the ancestors, you can communicate also with other beings. So it also, destroys this like human-centered perspective. It allows you to take the perspective of spirits or of a perspective of animals, of plants, and so on. And so the way we've been able to continue these traditions, even beyond slavery, even beyond colonialism, segregation, exploitation, and just pure racism, the masks have, like for Carnival, they really become objects of freedom, of emancipation. And so, yeah, like I've been really obsessed by painting masks, by trying to create these objects that maybe someday if we are really having the revolution, someone can go inside the gallery and just wear the mask instead of just having it hanging on a wall. Like also a Trojan horse, where the people who can relate to this